Hello everyone, I am Ram Duvuru Sriram, also known as Duvuri to my IIT friends. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2021. I'm sure that your parents, siblings, and teachers are all very proud of your achievements. Graduating from India's number one engineering school is a dream for many, and you have all achieved the dream. Thank you, Bhaskar and Manu, for inviting me. I'm honored to be the chief guest for the Civil Engineering Department Degree Distribution Program. On this occasion, I would like to share with you my journey. And as I take you along my journey, I hope to share some bits of wisdom based on my experience. My journey started with my mother having a dream. She wanted me to get into IIT and become a professor, just like her brother, my uncle D.V. Reddy. And that's what I did in 1975. What I'm going to do is to describe my journey through using this timeline of internet, because internet is having a significant impact on all our lives. So as I mentioned, my journey started in 1975, where I joined IIT Madras in the Department of Civil Engineering. Around in my third year, I got a branch change to electronics, but I decided to go back to civil engineering as my father suggested that he wanted to follow my uncle's path of being a civil engineer. So for my stay at IIT Madras has been one of the best experiences in my life. And I will talk about it a little bit later on, but now I'll talk a little bit about my professional activities. At IIT Madras, in my final year, I worked with Professor Swami Das in the Ocean Engineering Department on a project called Random Analysis of an Offshore Production Platform. Or actually, it's analysis of an offshore production platform in a random wave field. And we actually published this after I finished my degree. Then in 1980, I was very fortunate to have been offered a graduate assistantship at Carnegie Mellon University. And I, along with four of my friends, actually with three of my friends, actually four of us from IIT went to Carnegie Mellon, although they all went to different departments, chemical, mechanical, and electrical. At Carnegie Mellon, I met Professor Jacobo Bielak, a pioneer in earthquake engineering, and some of you may know. And I did my master's thesis with him on beams or elastic foundations. And essentially, we were trying to study fast-moving trains on rails and to see whether the rail fails first or the soil underneath the rail fails first. And we actually showed, contrary to the tradition at the time, that's the soil that kind of fails, and we developed a mixed variational approach for this problem. Then about 1982, at about 81, 82 time frame, I had again the fortune of meeting two very, very famous people, Professor Raj Reddy and Professor Stephen J. Fenves. Actually, I met them before, but I started having discussions with them around in 1981. Then these people were pioneers in computers. Professor Raj Reddy, a Turing Award winner, and Professor Stephen J. Fenves, member of the Academy. And they not only sowed the seeds for my research career, but also provided guidance on how to generate the fruits of my knowledge. I was in civil engineering. I didn't have too much of background in computer science. So I was advised to take a few courses in computer science. And by the time I finished my PhD, I was pretty proficient in computer science. So what essentially happened here is that I met Raj Reddy one day, and he said that why didn't you apply the techniques that were developed for speech understanding to design? At the time, Steve also was looking at this at it around about using AI for civil engineering applications. In fact, he's also a pioneer of applying AI for engineering problems. He's written one of the first few papers in this area. So he liked the idea too. So then I set out developing the system called Destiny. It was my Destiny, which was an integrated design and analysis system based on the notion that there are different programs like structural analysis, structural design, and all are kind of somehow collaborating through this thing called Blackboard, which was developed for speech understanding. So I was fairly successful in it. And by about 1986, I've actually built a system based on the Blackboard architecture. And along the way, I also had worked with a number of graduate students, and we published a number of papers, including one with Lalit Chaudhia on knowledge-based design. Now, in 1986, I also co-founded a journal called Artificial Intelligence Engineering Journal, which became very famous. In any case, these are some of the people at Carnegie Mellon University. In 1980 August, I left India, as you can see in that photograph there on the left. The three people who came with me are Lalit, Jayant, and Thanuraj to CMU. In 1982, you can have this photo with Akaba Bialak, Mary Lou, and Stephen Fenves. And here that was taken in Atlanta, where we went to demonstrate a program of using AI for helping with the diagnosis of people movers in the airport. On the right-hand side, you see me with Professor Steve Fenves and Raj Reddy, who again were my mentors at Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, now in 86, I went to MIT, and at MIT, I met Bob Lozier. Now, Bob Lozier, along with Steve Fenves, were the first people to write an analysis program on a digital computer. And this particular program called Stress, which later became Strudel, was a pioneering work which led to all the future success stories of finite element method. And Bob and I had very similar ideas about internet. So both of us envisioned that the internet, which was really used for email by engineers at the time, will transform the way that design can be done. We had a lot of resistance from traditional engineering scientists, but we managed to conceptualize and build one of the first computer-supported collaborative design environment, which had all the features of Facebook and much more. It had a very sophisticated security mechanism. This particular system, as you can see here, was called Distributed and Integrated Computer-Aided Engineering Environment, where you had people working in different parts of the world, like here in different computers, and they're all and everything is communication and coordination through this object-oriented blackboard. But it's not the same blackboard as I developed for my PhD, but this was more of an intelligent blackboard. And we were the first people who came up with the concept of an intelligent blackboard, where you post things on this blackboard and the blackboard reacts in an intelligent manner using an inference mechanism in the background. And the system also had all kinds of sophisticated things in there. Like here is a video which shows the working of the system, and that's me in 1993. I had a lot of air at the time. And I don't want to go into too much detail of this particular thing, but essentially show you that here, like for example, an architect kind of posts things, does some space design and posts this into the blackboard, and immediately a message is sent to the structural engineer who takes this particular thing from there, and then the structural engineer actually does a structural design, and the structural designer posts it back into the system, and then the architect and the structural designer kind of collaborate with one another using the central medium. Here, structural designer finished, and then there's also going to be some constraint violations because the structural designer may want it in certain way and the architect may want it in certain way, and these constraints are automatically detected, and each one of them is told that there is a particular problem and they need to resolve that, and they resolve those things, but everything, and there's a lot of geometry in there. So we developed the first non-manifold based geometry engine for this one. So this one had a very sophisticated geometric modeler and an engine, and it had a very sophisticated inference mechanism, and it ran over an object-oriented database, and we used all the state-of-the-art kind of things. And we also developed a theoretical framework for this. And I'm going to skip this. And these photographs show my 4 PhD students from MIT, Fenioski Penemora, and his students, Srinivas Rao Goti, Albert Wong, and Navin Chandra. John McCusker was my secretary, so this is during my send-off period at MIT. In 1994, I joined NIST to build the engineering design program in mechanical engineering laboratory at the advice of Pradeep Koshla. I was again lucky to have had the opportunity to work with some of the best researchers in the world and a management that allowed us to be innovative and creative. Just like in MIT, I got the best graduate students. We had some of the best people working with us in engineering design. In fact, people from all over the world came and worked with us, and some of them went back to their countries. In fact, many of them went back to their countries, and now they're working in academics. For example, many of the folks from IIT and IISCs have worked in this program. So I've also developed, we realized that there were a lot of commonalities between engineering and healthcare. So we developed another program called Manufacturing Metrology and Standards for the Healthcare Enterprise. And this focused mostly on the healthcare field, both in terms of informatics and device metrology. So in any case, within this particular period, the interoperability standards and modeling languages developed by our team are actually resulting in improved productivity in the engineering and allied industries in the United States. There was a program called the Design Repository that has become the model for design repository research, and it is used widely in the industry and academia. And if you look at the 3D printing world, we actually were the people who pioneered the work on development of representations for heterogeneous materials. And those are having an impact on the field of 3D printing. So in any case, our contributions are being realized in emerging areas of smart manufacturing, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, and digital manufacturing. And here is a team. Just before I left the design and process group, we have Steve Fenves, who came back and joined us after his retirement. You can see him in the middle. And there are a number of other people like Sub, who was there initially, now he's with me. And Sudarshan was a person behind a lot of work on the core product model, which was the standard semantic model that we developed. And then we have a number of folks like Mahesh and other people who have been, and Antonio also came back and working with us in my new division. So about 2010, after nearly 16 years in the engineering laboratory, I moved to take over the software and systems division, which is part of the information technology lab. And I'm continuing my journey towards building better software systems. Again, we have had an impact in many areas here. I'll briefly describe that after that, except that I would like to point out that in 2013, that Vint Cerf was a founder of, was known as the father of Internet, and I organized a symposium at the AAAS 2013 meeting, that's Association for the Advancement of Science meeting. And this kind of evolved into this smart networked systems architecture later on, which is basically an Internet of everything. And I've been developing a number of research concepts in that, and you can find my publications on the web in that area. So in terms of the software and systems division, we actually developed a mission and vision for this division. And there's a number of projects that are happening here. I don't want to go into details of all these things, but all I can say is that we've had an impact in many areas. For example, developing better and faster software for the healthcare world. And in fact, every electronic health record tested in the United States is based on our NIST tools developed under my division. And our voting guidelines are used during election reporting. Our image analysis tools are helping in better treatments for diseases such as macular degeneration. Our computer forensic tools are helping various law enforcement agencies in the United States and abroad. In fact, the United States Supreme Court often cites our reports. Our timing work is making smart cities happen. And in a 2016 National Research Council noted that the Software and Systems Division is a gem in the crown of nation's research laboratories. And it kind of accomplished this by developing a purpose and mission. I don't want to go into details of it, except that for anything and everything you do, we need to develop a purpose. And here is the purpose of my division of cultivating confidence in software systems and measurements. And how we do it and what we do it come next. And this is the team. This is the ITL management team. And the person you see here in the middle is my lab director, Charles Romain. And he provides a lot of support to all of us. And he lets us do our work. And it's very important in a career to have a boss who doesn't interfere very much, but provides the right support to you. And likewise, you need to act the same for people underneath you. I've been very fortunate that in my journey, I have interacted, worked with some very eminent personalities. And you can see this eminent personalities in this photograph. Professor Raj Reddy at Carnegie Mellon with Bill Gates. We have served on a panel. Professor Pradeep Kreshla, who is the member of the National Academy of Engineering and has helped me several times. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winner. Steve Fenves, my mentor. Jyoti Mazumdar, with whom I worked very closely on 3D printing. And Professor Jyoti Mazumdar is a pioneer in 3D printing. Wing Cerf, with whom I've organized several workshops at AAAS, and I worked closely with him. A Turing Award winner, Joseph Sefakis, and we have mutual interest in computational design. With Azad Madni and Professor S.K. Gupta. Azad Madni is an INCOSI fellow and member of NAE. Reserve Bank Governor Y.V. Reddy, with whom I had several interactions. Nobel Prize winner William Phillips at NIST, and with C.R. Rao, who's a National Medal of Science. And again, I had several interactions with him on statistics. Again, I should say I'm very fortunate, and it's very important that one should document all your meetings with eminent personalities along your journey. Now we'll talk a little bit about the foundations at IIT Madras. IIT Madras provides you with a high intellectual environment with many eminent professors in civil engineering, such as Professor P.S. Rao, Professor L.N.R. Ramamurthy, Professor Rajagopalan, Professor Ravindan. And we've learned a lot of structural engineering from them. Professor C.S. Krishnamurthy, who taught us computer-aided engineering and has been very influential for many of us, unfortunately is no more. And Professor Shankaran, who helped me get from electronics to civil engineering in my third year. One thing important about you learn in IIT is cooperative problem solving. And this actually helped me a lot in my future research career when I was designing a cooperative engineering design system, which was computer supported. And we kind of learned this through helping each other of solving homework problems, and also in periods. We used to call the tests as periods. The third thing that you learn at IIT Madras is computational thinking. Now, computational thinking is a thought process involved in formulating a problem and expressing its solution in such a way that a computer, human or machine, can effectively carry out. And then here you learn a lot about abstractions, decomposition, pattern recognition, and algorithms. And these were taught not only in the civil engineering courses, but also in other subjects that we learned at IIT. For example, the physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And all of them had ingredients of these 4 components, which is very useful for computational thinking. And Now, you're very lucky. You have courses such as self-awareness taught by Professor Devdas Menon. As you all know, that human being is not only a single dimension, but a multi-dimensional personality. It's not that it's not only that one should be a great structural engineer or a civil engineer through technical competence, but also through areas such as self-awareness, be a complete and a holistic human being. And these are the courses that are taught at IIT, and they're very lucky. And I will talk a little bit about the everlasting bonds that are created later on. Bits of wisdom 1. No matter what you do, be the best in your field. If you are a stonemason, then you should be the best stonemason in the world. And this is what my uncle, Professor D. Reddy, told me when I joined IIT and took civil engineering as my branch. Wisdom 2. In your life journey, you'll encounter several obstacles. Do not worry about the obstacles you face in your professional career and personal life. Oftentimes, people may not believe in your ideas. Believe in yourself and be persistent. It will pay off in the long run. Almost every successful person I know faced many challenges in his or her career. And like, for example, our DICE project, people did not believe in it. They thought that you cannot, the internet is only for email. But we demonstrated that you can do much more with internet by developing this huge framework or huge platform of collaborative design. So you can do it. You have to have persistence. Bits of wisdom 3. Your work should have a purpose and impact. You should be passionate about your work. Clearly understand the purpose of anything you do and be persistent in achieving that purpose. Make sure your work has a positive impact on the society. And then I talked a little bit about some of the impacts that we have had in our work, both in the engineering design lab and now in the information technology laboratory. Bits of wisdom 4. It's very important to have good mentors in your life. And I was very lucky to have had Professor Raj Reddy and Professor Steve Fenves during my graduate days, and Professor Pradeep Koshla, who had helped me many times in my life. Professor D.V. Reddy, my uncle, who has been a mentor. And we have good friends like B.J. Lloyd, who is shown here. By the way, the person next to Professor Stephen J. Fenves is Norma Fenves, who was the person who coined, who came up with the name STRESS for the structural engineering program that Steve Fenves and Bob Loescher pioneered. Bits of wisdom 5. Always maintain the bonds with your IIT friends. And in this set of photographs, you'll see a batch of 1980 friends whom I've kept in constant touch through my entire journey. And we meet in regular, whenever I go to a particular city, I try to find my IIT friends, and we have get-togethers, as you can see on the left side. We attend marriages. We also act as psychological counselors to each other. When I have problems, I call them, and they have problems, they call me. And occasionally we have gatherings like the one shown on the right in New Orleans in 2018, where we had both the batch, a class of 1980 and the class, and some people from class of 79 there. And this is again very important that you keep in touch with your friends, and we all nowadays we also keep in touch with WhatsApp and so on. So we exchange information all the time, and our interactions are very beneficial both to our personal career, personal life, and the professional career. Bits of wisdom 6. Family is very important. As you can see on the right side of my extended family, this photograph was taken in 2009 during my niece's wedding. In the center, you see my father, Dr. Bhaskar Reddy, very distinguished person. And he himself was the Director of Medical Education of Andhra Pradesh and Vice Chancellor of Nagarjuna University. Standing to the right of me is my younger brother in the dark suit, Ravi Dovuru, and is a vice president of a bank. And standing to the left of me is my older brother, Nageshwar Reddy, very distinguished gastroenterologist, world famous gastroenterologist, and also was awarded the Padma Bhushan. And next to him is my brother-in-law, Mohan Reddy, a very well-known entrepreneur, and who received a Padma Shri. And sitting to the left, rightmost left of us, is my sister, Sucharita, who has been a constant support and strength to all the siblings. And you also see all the young people to the right of my brother, Ravi. And these young people now are very accomplished people, being cookbook authors, venture capitalists, CEOs of companies, who are working in Hollywood, and in many famous multinationals. Again, to the left of this photograph, as you are seeing the screen, is my own family. My son Sarang, my daughter Sarika, and my wife Viji. And again, I'm very proud of both my children, Sarang and Sarika, who have degrees from Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford University, respectively. And below that are my sisters-in-law and my brothers-in-law and my cousins and very good friends. And we visit each other often, and they have been a constant support to me throughout my career. Our social gatherings have helped me a lot in both personal and professional lives. Again, as I say, family is very important. Bits of wisdom 7. Never burn bridges. If you can avoid doing so, sometimes maybe it's tough. But again, as I say, that you never should burn bridges in your life. As is described in the Indian scriptures, treat ahankara as ego, ahankara or ego as a formidable enemy, and try your best to suppress this. Again, ego is one of those attributes that will also lead to your fall. A lot of people who make money, become famous, think of the following: I'm the greatest, who can become more than me? Don't follow that path. Don't ever follow that path. Bits of wisdom 8. Leadership involves working closely with your peers, your technical staff, administrative staff, and upper management, and gaining their trust. And my group leaders, technical group leaders, are the people who kind of run who make sure that we produce all the good things I talked about before. Your job is to provide the vision, and don't micromanage your direct reports. Not only direct reports, you also occasionally you have to meet people who are under them too all the time. Then it's also good to have some very good, excellent administrative staff, like my administrative assistant, Janet Madison, we can see on the left side, and Sharon Wentling, who's my financial officer. And all these people are the people who kind of make your journey very comfortable. And I also was lucky again in my MIT days. During this journey, I had another secretary, Joan McCusker, who was again made my journey at MIT very comfortable. Bits of wisdom 9. Making money is important, but accumulating large amounts should not be a goal. Always remember your alma mater and try to give back in whatever way you can. Funds, helping students, faculty, etc. In fact, I host a number of faculty members and PhD students in my division, and I hosted them over the years, and they went back and joined various universities in India. I give to IIT Madras, give it to Carnegie Mellon University, and a number of other charities, both in India and United States. Bits of wisdom 10. You should never stop learning. Learning should be a lifelong experience. You are embarking on your life journey into the future with lots of uncertainties and challenges. Some of these challenges will test your courage, strength, and faith. I strongly believe that your experience at IIT Madras and the friendship bonds you've created will better prepare you to deal with these challenges. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my parents for starting me on this journey and for their faith in me to accomplish all I have set for. I would also like to thank all the people who helped me, who traveled with me, and are traveling with me on this journey. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey and the lessons learned along this journey with you. I look forward to follow-on discussions.